It is exactly 6:15 a.m. local time on January 2nd, 2026. In the western sector of Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region, winter dawn is breaking over a frozen, scarred landscape. The air is gray. The cold bites. Nothing moves. High above, a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone glides silently at 2,100 feet, its sensors cutting through the morning haze. Then, a heat signature appears. On a narrow dirt road, hugging the tree line to stay off the main highways, a Russian convoy is moving. This isn't a strike force, it's a lifeline. Ural 4320S and Kamaz 5350S, heavy logistical trucks loaded with tons of ammunition and fuel, are rumbling southwest. They are escorted by light vehicles and at least 2 armored support platforms. Their mission is critical: resupply the forward combat positions that are running dry. Without this convoy, the Russian guns on the front line will go silent. Without these trucks, artillery batteries less than 7 miles ahead will be forced to ration fire before nightfall. To the Russian drivers, this route feels safe. It is a back road, quiet and ignored. They maintain steady speed, irregular spacing, a maneuver drilled into them to minimize damage from airstrikes. They are professionals, but they have made one fatal mistake. The convoy has no visible anti-aircraft cover, no active electronic warfare escort. They are naked. For several minutes, the drone maintains steady visual contact. The footage confirms over a dozen vehicles. Some show signs of heavy wear and tear, caked on mud covering improvised field armor. They pass through a small intersection used to distribute supplies. At this point, the movement is completely exposed. From a reconnaissance standpoint, the situation is clear. A significant Russian logistics column is moving in broad daylight in an area where Ukrainian drone activity has spiked. For the Ukrainian operators miles away, it is no longer a theory, it is visual confirmation. The convoy drives on, unaware that every yard of their route is being recorded, analyzed, and transmitted in real time. In the Pokrovsk sector, being spotted is often the first step toward disappearing. 6:21 a.m., the trap snaps shut. From the ground, there are no warnings, no sirens wail, no artillery whistles. The first sign of death comes from the sky. A Ukrainian FPV drone takes a sharp dive, screaming toward the earth. It doesn't aim for the convoy, it aims for the choke point. Impact. The drone slams into the cab of the lead Ural 4320 truck. The explosion is precise. It doesn't completely vaporize the vehicle, but it disables it instantly, killing the engine and the driver. The heavy truck slews sideways, dead in the middle of the dirt road. The bottleneck is formed. The convoy is dead in its tracks. Almost immediately, a second drone hits the center of the column. This one strikes a Kamaz 5350 with a covered load. Boom! The detonation is much more powerful. The vehicle bursts into a violent flame. The fire quickly spreads to neighboring trucks, indicating the presence of fuel or volatile ammunition. Blocked at the front and engulfed in fire in the middle, the convoy is trapped. At this point, the attack sequence accelerates. More FPV drones swarm in from different directions. They hunt systematically. They target specific high-value spots: cabs, fuel tanks, escort vehicles, and units trying to veer off the road. Aerial footage shows Russian soldiers abandoning their vehicles, sprinting toward the nearby tree line, diving into the snow. One driver jumps from a burning cab, slips on the ice, and crawls behind a truck, just as another drone dives. There is no warning, no time to think, only impact. Others try to take cover behind trucks that haven't been hit yet, a fatal error as secondary explosions ripple down the line. Shockwaves send shrapnel flying for yards. In minutes, this stretch of road turns into a total destruction zone. At least 8 logistics trucks are destroyed or severely damaged. 2 escort vehicles are hit while trying to retreat, left disabled and burning on the shoulder. Thick black smoke pours into the sky, visible from miles away, a beacon pinpointing the strike site. Fires spread through the wreckage. Secondary detonations continue inside the convoy. Pop, pop, boom! As ammo crates cook off. There is no organized anti-air defense. There is no coordinated return fire against the drones. No flares, no smoke screens. The strike was executed fast and finished before nearby Russian units could even react. By the time the last drone leaves the area, the convoy has ceased to exist as an operational unit. The route is completely blocked by charred wreckage, overturned trucks, and active fires. The logistics operation is a total loss. The attack itself lasted only a few minutes, but the damage is irreversible. As smoke continues to hang over the Pokrovsk sector, attention shifts to the inevitable Russian military response. At 6:38 a.m., just minutes after the first vehicles were hit, Russian forces in the area begin to react. However, the response is fragmented, late, and chaotic, driven more by panic than effective coordination. Soldiers who had fled the trucks try to set up improvised defensive positions along the tree line. Some open fire with small arms into the sky, trying to pick off the departing FPV drones. The volleys are sporadic and lack clear direction. They are shooting at ghosts. Simultaneously, nearby Russian units are receiving conflicting reports about a major air attack. Initial intel mentions multiple drones, active fires, and secondary explosions, but lacks hard data. Is it artillery? Is it a helicopter? No one knows. This lack of clarity slows down any attempt at an immediate counterattack. Some vehicles at the rear of the convoy try to back out, but they run into burning wrecks and debris. At least one truck is abandoned intact when the driver decides to flee on foot rather than try to maneuver through the wreckage. As the fires intensify and smoke reduces visibility, the Russian priority shifts from defending the convoy to individual survival. Small groups of soldiers scatter into the woods and gullies, moving away from the main attack corridor. No immediate arrival of armor or mobile anti-aircraft units is recorded. Russian forces in the area clearly hadn't anticipated such a strike on a moving logistics column, leaving it without a shield at the critical moment. What followed was not a counterattack. It was the collapse of command. By 6:47 a.m., Ukrainian observers confirm the area is practically cleared of visible Russian personnel. The fires are still burning, but there are no visible attempts to recover the vehicles or secure the perimeter. From a military standpoint, the withdrawal was not orderly. There was no tactical retreat or immediate establishment of a new defensive line. It was a scattered escape. This marks a total breakdown of control and a loss of initiative in that sector. Minutes later, recon drones confirm that nearby Russian units are choosing to avoid the area entirely, opting for alternative logistics routes to avoid the same fate. That stretch of road is out of commission, not just because of the physical debris, but because of the high risk of follow-up ambushes. The Russian defense reacted, but it was too little, too late. By 7:10 a.m., the ripple effects are being felt far beyond the crash site. What happened near Pokrovsk stopped being a tactical incident and became an operational headache for Russian forces in that entire sector. Losing that convoy didn't just mean losing trucks. It immediately severed the logistics flow to several forward Russian positions that were counting on those supplies. The ammo, fuel, and basic necessities scheduled to arrive that day simply didn't show up. Batteries are forced to ration fire, tanks sit idle, planned movements are postponed. The physical blockage of the road makes things worse. Charred wrecks and scattered unexploded ammo make the road impassable for hours. Even after the fires die down, the risk of secondary explosions prevents the route from being reopened quickly. Alternative routes are longer, less secure, and already under Ukrainian surveillance. Friction is introduced into the system, and in war, friction kills. From the Russian command's perspective, the attack exposed a critical gap. The column wasn't protected by mobile air defense or an escort capable of handling FPV drones. Internal reports indicate the attack was carried out with precision and knowledge of the route, raising fears about intel leaks and predictable patterns. In Pokrovsk, Russia wasn't defeated by drones, it was defeated by routine. Consequently, several Russian units were ordered to limit daytime movements, fragment their convoys, and avoid previously used secondary routes. These measures, while necessary, slowed down the operational tempo and added more strain to an already stretched logistics system. Strategically, the attack reinforced a harsh truth for Russia. Control of the low-altitude sky no longer depends solely on fighter jets or heavy SAM systems. Cheap, fast, and precise drones manage to destroy a high-value target without ever engaging advanced defenses. The message was clear, not just for units in Pokrovsk, but for the entire front. Ukraine proved it can watch, wait, and strike at the exact right moment, creating effects that go way beyond immediate material losses. Every lost convoy forces Russia to dump more resources into protection and planning, reducing their ability to concentrate force elsewhere. The attack didn't change the map in a day, but it changed how Russians move across it. By 8:34 a.m. on January 2, 2026, the sector where the convoy was destroyed was officially declared a non-operational zone. No attempts were made to recover the vehicles or clear the road immediately. The risk of secondary blasts and follow-up drone strikes kept Russian forces at a distance. All that remained were charred skeletons of trucks and a road turned into a permanent obstacle. The convoy was gone, and with it, the mission it was sent to complete. A few hours later, Ukrainian military sources confirmed the strike was part of a sustained strategy to degrade Russian logistics in the Pokrovsk area. While the ground lines remained stable, the flow of supplies was the real battleground. This wasn't a one-off hit. It was constant pressure designed to wear down, delay, and force mistakes from the Russian side. The Russian response was silent. No official statements on the loss, no public mention of the attack. They kept the focus on other sectors to avoid acknowledging a blow that didn't fit their narrative. But on the ground, the impact was undeniable. Nearby Russian units changed their routes and limited their daytime movements. Uncertainty replaced routine. Every move became a gamble. The Pokrovsk strike left a clear lesson. In 2026, superiority isn't measured by the number of tanks or troops, but by the ability to detect first and strike with precision. Ukraine didn't need a massive offensive or a head-on clash. They just had to pick the moment when the enemy was most exposed. For Russia, the blow was more than material. It was psychological and operational. It forced them to rethink everything and accept that even routine movements could become immediate targets. The front line didn't move that day. The map didn't visibly change. But something far more important did. The certainty that movement equals safety disappeared forever. In 2026, the most dangerous thing on the battlefield isn't being seen. It's being predictable. Over the skies of Pokrovsk, drones didn't just watch a convoy. They rewrote the rules of how wars are fought, quietly, precisely, and without warning. The attack ended, the wreckage cooled, but the lesson did not. This war is no longer about who has more tanks, more men, or louder weapons. It's about who sees first, thinks faster, and adapts before the next strike comes. If you want to understand how modern warfare is really changing, beyond headlines and propaganda, this channel breaks it down, one battle at a time. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the next shift on the battlefield. Because in this war, the ones who fail to adapt don't get a second warning.